Hey guys, it's Amanda and today I'm going to be doing a binge book haul because I recently went on a humongous binge on the book depository, and the book depository has free shipping worldwide, so I was like, why not? So I literally went out and bought like a ton of books, and the reason why is because I haven't really been buying a lot of books recently and I've been in a super big reading slump. But this has hopefully brought me out of that reading slump. Also, if you guys are wondering, this makeup look that I have on right now is actually a Miranda Kerr inspired makeup look that I did a video on. So if you guys would like to watch that, then that will probably be in the description, or it might be in the next video. But if it is up, then I'll have it linked down in the description if you guys want to watch that. So anyways, without further ado, let's get started with the book haul. So the first book that I want to show you guys isn't actually part of the binge book haul because I didn't buy it at the book depository, I just went to Kmart and bought it. But it is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J Maas, and this is the 6th book in the Throne of Glass series, and I am obviously in the middle of reading it, or not even in the middle, I'm only like 82 pages in. I'm up to chapter 7 and I actually haven't had the urge to read this. Like, I started reading it and there's a number of reasons why I don't really want to read this. One, I'm not really a big fan of Kale, so I don't really want to read from his perspective, and the few pages that I have read have been quite boring, and I know that it might just like take time to get settled into the world, but I just don't really feel like reading it. But I feel like I have to because the new Throne of Glass book is going to come out soon, so I probably have to read it before then. But recently I just haven't been into these kind of books, I guess. I don't know, my reading tastes have changed drastically, which I will get into a little bit later, but I just kind of realized a lot of things about Sarah J Maas's books that I didn't realize initially when I first started reading her series. Still really love her books, but there are just some issues I have with it now that I've kind of opened my eyes to. I'll let you know if I do end up finishing it, which I probably will, just to like complete the series. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. If you guys want me to do like a whole video on like what I feel about Sarah J Maas now. So the next book that I have to show you guys is also not part of the binge book buying from the book depository, but it is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. And as you can see, I've also started reading this as well. I am 42 pages in, and I will get back to this eventually, but I am currently in the middle of another book, and that's why you can see I've been in the biggest reading slump ever, because I've started so many books and I haven't been able to finish it. The reason why I picked up this book was because it's a pretty popular book, I guess. It's a classic, and it's also now a HBO series, which is really cool. I might actually end up watching it after I read this book. And I also did study Margaret Atwood at school when I was in year 11 and 12. I read her book The Penelopiad, which I really enjoyed. I really loved her writing, and I also studied a speech that she presented. So yeah, I do really like Margaret Atwood as an author, and I decided I really wanted to explore her oeuvre. So I decided to pick this up, and every single time I pick this book up and start reading, I am amazed by the writing. The writing is fantastic, and that's how I think my literary tastes have changed, because I am really appreciative of good writing now, and I can't read books that have subpar writing anymore. Back in the day, I used to be able to read books with like subpar writing and like a good plot and good characters, but now I need that good writing because it just keeps me going. And I also myself aspire to be a writer one day, and because I took Extension 2 English in year 12 and I actually wrote my own short story and I went through the writing process, I think now I'm so much more appreciative of how books are written and the way that books are written. And my teacher for Extension 2 and also Extension 1 English inspired me in so many different ways and kind of changed my literary tastes, and so I have to thank them for that. So yes, I've definitely expanded a lot in terms of what I read now, and so that's why I wanted to pick this up. It's a classic and it explores themes that are very taboo, I guess. I'll read the blurb just so you guys kind of understand what it's about, because I didn't really do a good job explaining that. The Republic of Gilead offers Ophryd only one function: to breed. If she deviates, she will, like dissenters, be hanged at the wall or sent out to die slowly of radiation sickness. But even a repressive state cannot obliterate desire, neither Offred's nor that of the two men on which her future hangs. I think it's a really interesting read if you want to read something that's a bit more confronting. Okay, so the next books that I have to show you guys are part of my binge book haul, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of this video. So the first book I have to show you guys is called Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Noah Harari, and this book is amazing, and I am in the middle of reading this. I am 142 pages in, but I am going to be finishing this so soon because I've just been flying through it, and it has changed my perspective on so many things, and it's really confronting as well. It's non-fiction, which I never thought I would be interested in, but it's kind of a blend between biology, history, and literature, which is three of my favorite things. When I first even opened the book and started reading, it just opened my eyes to so many different things. It was so interesting and fascinating, and even though it's non-fiction, it reads like fiction. You will fly through this. And if you are interested in anything about like the start of humanity or just like human constructs, this is such a good read. And I'm not even finished this yet, and I would recommend it because I know that this is going to be one of my favorite books of all time. When I was reading this, I'm like, wow, this author is so incredibly smart and articulate, and he knows how to write something that not only informs you in a lot of things, but also captivate you. And that's so important because when it is a non-fiction book, you want to make people keep reading. And it's really hard when it's non-fiction, but he manages to do that. It is a little bit preachy in a way, like I can see how some people might think that it's trying to push an agenda on you, but I think that if you take it with a grain of salt and evaluate it in your own perspective, then it is really, really good. And I also found out that the author has a PhD in history at Oxford University, so it's no wonder that he is brilliant. So yes, I would really recommend this. Please go out and read it. It will change your perspective on so many different things. It is literally life-changing or mind-changing. I want to read you the back of Sapiens just because I think it is really, really cool and it just captivates you right away. Fire gave us power. Farming made us hungry for more. Money gave us purpose. Science made us deadly. And I think that literally encapsulates our society as a whole and our humanity. It makes you question society and humanity and how we think and how society functions. It is genius. So the next book is Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. I'm not really sure how you pronounce his last name, but I picked this up because it's a classic and I've been getting into classics recently because, as I said, my literary tastes are changing and I'm not only reading YA anymore. Even though I still do love YA, I've just broadened my horizons. And also my friend recommended this to me to read, and when I read the first page of it, I was like, wow, this writing is amazing. This book is pretty controversial because of the subject matter it deals with, but I think that it's really important to read things that disturb you a little because it is good to see from other perspectives. I'll read you the first page because the writing really gets to you. Lolita, light of my life, fire of my loins, my sin, my soul, Lolita, the tip of the tongue taking a trip of 3 steps down the palate to tap at 3 on the teeth. Lolita, she was low, plain low in the morning, standing 4 feet 10 in one sock. She was Lola in slacks, she was Dolly at school, she was Dolores on the dotted line, but in my arms she was always Lolita. Did she have a precursor? She did, indeed she did. In point of fact, there might have been no Lolita at all had I not loved one summer a certain initial girl child. In a Princeton by the sea. Oh, when? About as many years before Lolita was born as my age was that summer. You can always count on a murderer for a fancy prose style. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, exhibit number 1 is what the seraphs, the misinformed, simple, noble-winged seraphs, envied. Look at this tangle of thorns. It's amazing. Oh my god, I love it. I love it, love it. The Lolita cover is actually so beautiful. I love it. I specifically chose this one because it is just gorgeous. And I'm a sucker for good covers. So the next book is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And the reason why I got this was because there's really good reviews about this and it just sounded really interesting and something that I would enjoy. I think it's about this man and woman who are both like magicians in the circus and they're like enemies, but they fall in love or something like that. So that sounds really interesting. I'm not really sure exactly, so don't quote me on that. That's just what I've heard. If you guys want me to do like full book reviews once I have finished these books, then just leave me a comment down below and I'll be sure to do that. The next book that I have to show you guys is Animal Farm by George Orwell. And this is just a classic. I got this because George Orwell is a mastermind and he was the start of dystopian, and I've actually read 1984, but I read that when I was in year 10. I was really young and I didn't really understand a lot of the concepts he was trying to explore, so I think now that my knowledge has expanded, I would definitely be more engaged in his book, and even if I don't like it that much, I still want to read it just to see what it's all about, and it's always referenced here and there. So yeah, how can I call myself a book lover if I have not read Animal Farm? So the next book that I have to show you guys is a bit more of a light-hearted one, and this is Geekerella by Ashley Poston, and I've been hearing so many good things about this. It's a fairy tale retelling about fandom, and it's obviously about Cinderella, which is one of my favorite fairy tales of all time. It's a little bit like a nice contemporary read that I'm really excited to like dive into because I'm reading so many books that are pretty heavy topics. I'm excited to read something that's a bit more light and fluffy. Okay, so the last book that I have to show you guys is called Wonder by R.J. Palacio. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that. I'm terrible at pronunciation. I recently watched the Wonder film, which I loved. I adored so much, and so I decided I would give the book a go, and this is a middle grade book, so it should be really easy to fly through, but it explores a lot of kind of more mature themes, I guess. So those are all the books that I have to show you guys in this binge book haul. You guys probably won't see a book haul from me in a while because this is a lot of books and I will be very busy reading. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have subscribed, click that notification bell so that you can be updated when I upload new videos, which is hopefully very soon, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!